Madras Christian College. Founded in 1837, one of Asia's oldest extant colleges. Welcomes to MCC MRF Innovation Park, an integrated ecosystem for innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. MCC MRF Innovation Park strives to nurture translational research, innovation, and engages startup ideas to foster groundbreaking advancements. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a researcher, or a student, this is where innovation meets opportunity. The state-of-the-art infrastructure supports a wide range of activities. The Fabrication Lab offers tools for prototyping and empowering innovators to transform ideas into tangible products. The Entrepreneurs Cafe provides a vibrant, collaborative environment for budding entrepreneurs to co-work, while also serving as a pilot hub for food startups. The Writer's Nook inspires creativity with its serene and focused workspace, designed for writers and creators. With advanced seminar halls and meeting rooms equipped with interactive smartboards, the park ensures collaboration for impactful events among the entrepreneurship ecosystem enablers. Innovation Park. Spanning across 45,000 square feet houses specialized centers that drive interdisciplinary research and real-world impact. The Center for Nanomaterials Research and Innovations that focus on sustainable and green materials, biomaterials, and nanoelectronics. The Center for Computational Informatics applies cutting-edge computational techniques to healthcare, agriculture, and materials science. The Center for Big Data Analytics extracts insights from complex data sets, enhancing governance, sports, and humanities. The Center for Business Analytics fosters collaboration in fintech, logistics trade, and business strategies. The Center for Hutagogy Research and Innovation supports innovative teaching methods and e-learning development. The Innovation Park hosts entrepreneurship boot camps, design thinking workshops, hackathon to investment readiness trainings that nurture entrepreneurs through their stages of growth, seed, growth, and scale skills. So far, around 150 startups have been supported through incubation and pre-incubation, programs enabling them to raise a cumulative sum of 2 crores pre-seed funds, and have been supported through schemes such as TanSeed, launch products at Startup TN events, other than offering an enabling infrastructure, Nidhi Prayas, EIR, and SISFSS. The Innovation Park strives to offer a nurturing ecosystem of enablers from around the globe. And with the avid landscape of MCC, the campus and the community offers numerous avenues to pilot the innovations and have controlled validations. The Innovation Park focuses to bring in the best. With adaptation and mitigation of climate change being the need of the hour, innovations towards climate action and inclusive growth. Turn your ideas valuable with us at MCC MRF Innovation Park.
Good evening, all. Very happy to have you all here. We will start the program at 7 o'clock. Today we have Dr. Bebin with us from Department of Chemistry. He will be moderating the session. And the speaker, Alan J. Freddy, is also available here. And I think we can start on time. Bebin, over to you. Just we'll start at 7 a.m. You can also record the session in your computer. Powerful announcement. You have to give your feedback. Feedback link will be shared in the WhatsApp group and it will be automatically closed at 10 p.m. So please do give the feedback. That will be counted as attendance, and 80% attendance is mandatory to get the certificate. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of the MCC Research Colloquium, 5-day series on the art of proposal writing, hosted by Madras Christian College. Today's session promises to be insightful as we continue our journey into mastering the craft of effective proposal writing. The focus of today's lecture is on the power of a proposal, writing with a clarity, purpose, and impact. We are privileged to have with us Dr. Alan J. Freddy, who will be guiding us through this important topic. Dr. Alan J. Freddy is an assistant professor in the Department of Zoology, Madras Christian College, where he has been serving since June 2011. His teaching and research primarily focus on diabetic heart disease. He holds a PhD in life science molecular biology from Northeastern Hill University, where his works centered on mutational analysis of oral cancer. His research journey is diverse and rich. As a research associate at Sri Ramachandra University, he worked on the development and validation of herbomineral formulations for ulcer treatment. And during his tenure as a postdoctoral research scientist at Columbia University Medical Center, New York, he specialized in epigenetic profiling of hematological malignancies. He also contributed as a senior research officer in the Department of Virology at ICMR Assam, engaging in avian influenza programs. An alumnus of MCC with both BSc and MSc degrees, Alan J. Freddy has published in reputed high-impact journals. His passion lies in collaborative research, especially in the area of cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Notably, he holds the distinction of being the recipient of a 50 lakh DST SERB Early Career Research Grant, the highest single research grant ever awarded in MCC's history. Let us warmly welcome Dr. Alan J. Freddy and look forward to engaging and enriching session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for that beautiful words. I am happy to be here, and I also appreciate every one of you who are there in this platform today. So let me share my screen. Well, I'm not able to see the okay, okay, how do I share my entire screen?
So the options will be there, sir. Share. Share screen will be there, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. You can make it in the full slide. Yes, okay, sir. Now it's okay.
Yeah. All right. So today I'd like to give you a small recap on how and what we have been discussing for the past 2 days. And so we'll take it from there. So on the first day, we try to learn what's a research proposal, the significance of a research project, who can apply for the project, who and where and how to apply, the outlines or templates for research proposal, the funding agencies in social sciences, preparation of budget and timeline, plagiarism and AI, and also the application process of ICSSR, especially the shortlisting, interviewing, and sanctioning, which was very beautifully done by Dr. Chinnamuthu yesterday, and also how to craft a winning proposal and its strategies. So this was what we've learned yesterday. So our discussion was happening yesterday. Today we'll try to look at proposal and its clarity, a little bit on budgeting, the resources from where you can tap in for funds, and how to develop a proposal. Another explanation of budgeting with few examples, and then we'll go on into the entire proposal thing and how to get it funded. Okay, when you start up with proposals, there's a lot of questions that come into our mind. So I'm just going to show some of the things that come into our mind, and we kind of get stuck with a lot of hiccups here and there. So we do not know how to proceed, and we need to look at a lot of things like what I am showing here. And we're kind of confused at sometimes. We need whether we have to be interdisciplinary, we have to have a robust methodology, or what about the literature review, the questions that are asked. And what happens when you apply for a review or a project, and then you see sometimes it's under review on the flash board on the website, and then what are the kind of results that you can get. And sometimes you get rejected on the proposal, and sometimes it's very disgusting, or you feel very sad about the whole process, and we kind of don't know how to progress. We have been applying for 4 or 5 proposals at a time, and then most of them are rejected, but sometimes you might get it approved, and that's the best part of it. And so how to get this final approval, which makes you happy and also work on your line of research. So I'd like to show you the power of a proposal, writing with clarity, purpose, and impact. So that's the idea that I have today. So we'll dwell on how you need to be doing a proposal with exact pinpointed objectives, which does not deviate a lot from the idea that the funding agency has, and also why you want to do it and how it's going to impact the society. That's what we're going to look at today. So I'd like to start off with who can write a proposal. So a lot of us think that we can write a proposal. Can it be funded? And what is the stake for me if I write a proposal? So I'd like to put down who's the right person who can write a proposal. The first one is the principal investigator or faculty, where the principal investigator should be a permanent employee of the institution, or at least should be certified by the institution as permanent. So that's the first criteria that the funding agency looks at. So you need to be a permanent employee. And then, even though you are a permanent employee, you need to have a consistent record with your profile. In track record, what I mean is the kind of publications that you've been doing for the last 5 years. So it's not that you are a faculty and then you get it. You need to have a track record of your career prospects, like your publications are steady. Every year you have at least 2 or 3, or it's at least related to the kind of work that you're doing. So you will have your area or a niche in which you're working. So you should be having a sort of publications, and then you should be also a little bit of interdisciplinarity should be there present in your research profile. Like I worked on oral cancer for my research during my PhD program, and then I diversified into hematological malignancies, that is blood cancer. Then I worked on avian influenza. So there's a kind of interdisciplinarity, but my main focus was on molecular usage of different methodologies to understand a pathological situation. Sometimes you have this process called as an early career researcher who's a newly appointed faculty. That's within 2 years of appointment, you are allowed to write for a proposal and you get a large amount to start up with your research. So here you don't have to be very explicit with your career or your track record, but when you're newly appointed, you will get at least a fair chance to get your proposal approved. So the moment you're getting appointed into an institution, the first thing you should do is write for a grant so that you can start up your career, because the fund will allow you to do a lot of work. PhD and master's students can also apply, but they should go under a faculty or a guide. And then you have collaborative teams, like interdisciplinary teams of investigators, where you can have PIs and co-PIs from other institutions as well. You can collaborate with different departments. Like yesterday, there was a question was asking whether you can do it with a different discipline. Like I'm from science, can I do it with arts? So we can do it, but if you have a proposal which fits in the criteria that the funding agency is looking for. And then independent scholars can also do that, but they have to be registered to an institution or a laboratory. And usually they have to have a community-based research project, which the agency will be very happy to fund it. Yeah, I think this will give you an idea who's eligible to write a proposal and also submit it. So these are some of the criteria that the agency puts out so that they have a streamlined way to fund an individual or a researcher who is willing to bring out his idea and make it useful for the community. All right, why does a proposal matter? Yeah, why do you need to write a proposal? I think all of us would like to write a proposal and get it funded, but many times, why does it matter? This is one thing that's very important, because you need funding, you need approval, and also a little bit of collaboration. So this funding allows you to do the work that you're interested in, because without funds, you will not be able to do. And then you need to get the approval from the government and your institution. And also, if you have collaboration, it does a lot of good to your proposal, because when you're able to collaborate, it means that you have connections and you're able to have interactions with the rest of the community and also institutions. If it's a multi-institutional project, you have more validity on your work, and the funding agency also is looking for that kind of a work that you can do. It allows you to work on your area of interest. That's the most important thing. You have a passion on your line of work, and you are allowed to work on that if you have a good proposal. And a well-written proposal builds trust and credibility on the people who are reviewing your proposal. So that's very, very important. Your proposal needs to be very strong. And then it sets the foundation for your project execution. That's very important, because you have an idea, but you need to put it forth so that you can work on it. So the foundation needs to be good. That is, your career should have the basic foundation that you need. So you worked on a particular line, and then you're going to extend that particular work with a concept which has a social relevance. So the next thing is, you need a lot of ideas, and many of us have a lot of ideas, but how to put it forth? Yeah, I think all of us have a lot of ideas, yes? Yeah, but how to put this idea into perspective and then get it going? So the first thing that we need to look at is, you need to have a problem statement. So you might have different ideas. You need to put them together, create a problem statement, which will allow the funding agency to look at it and then say, okay, here's a good proposal. This will help the community. And so that's why we're going to fund this fellow or the principal investigator. So when I was working, like, I had an idea that I wanted to work on diabetes. So I wanted to work on farmers who were affected with diabetes. So that problem, why I chose, was because in the newspaper, I found out a paper clipping which says that 3,000 or a lot of farmers were affected because of pesticide usage. So I took that up and then made it into a proposal. So you have a problem statement which is there all over. We need to pick up such problem statements and develop that. So how to develop that? We need to have a hypothesis. Why you have that problem statement, and what are you going to do with that problem? So you need to create a hypothesis which says, so this is the problem that I have, and I'm going to address this problem with these kinds of approaches that I have. Sometimes you will have ideas, problem statements, and hypotheses, but we might not have the infrastructure that is required. In my case, I had only few equipments that are available, but I had to do the work. I had the problem statement, I had the hypothesis, but my infrastructure was very less. So I went on to collaborate with people who had the facility. So when I went in to collaborate, I went into a university where they had all the facility, and also a scientist who was already working on that line. So that gave me an edge over the rest of the people and allowed me to get my project funded. So collaboration is very important. Sometimes if you're a senior researcher, it's fine. You can go ahead with your own proposal. But as you start up, you need to collaborate. Without collaboration, most of the things does not work. You might get a lot of rejections. So, and the funding agency also looks at collaboration, because if collaboration is there, then they think, okay, this guy has connections, he has interactions, and then they will look at your proposal a second time. Otherwise, the first time itself, they will discard your proposal. All right, so how to start? So the first thing is to go with your idea, document your idea, and then we need to find out whether this idea that you have solves an existing problem, just like I told you earlier. So if you have an idea that can solve the existing problem, it's going to be very good. It's going to help the society. So that's how we go ahead with that. And then it should have a social relevance, because that's what the idea is. They want to give you funding because it's not going to help you do your own work. You might have an abstract idea, but if it's not going to have a social relevance, you might not get it funded. So you need to have social relevance, which allows you to have an edge over most other proposals that are going to come, because at a time there will be 1,000 to 1,500 or more proposals that are coming. From there, they need to screen out and look at your proposal. So you need to have a social relevance. And then look for an area which can be funded by Government of India or a private institution, which is going to help you get the money that you need. So when you have the money, if you find a funding agency that's going to support your idea, then you should probably apply there. And the next is identify a laboratory or an institute which will help you to do the work. That's what it is all about. So we have an idea, but we don't have the expertise, or we don't have the infrastructure to work. So we need to identify a laboratory which has all these facilities, which will allow you to extend your work and possibly get into a collaboration. And then work along with the person who has the infrastructure. So when you work along, you learn a lot of ideas there also. So I was from MCC. I am from MCC. So I wanted to work on a particular concept. So I went to another university and started working with the scientists there. I used to go every weekend, work with them. And as I worked, I started publishing a few papers along with them. So I created my niche to work along with the institute where I want to collaborate, because you can't just pick up an institute and then say, I'm going to work with them. The funding agency will look at your profile along with the collaborator, because if you don't have a collaborative paper along with the collaborating institution, then you are just trying to put some institution and then trying to propose an idea. That's not going to work. But if you have built up your relationship with an institution, publish your work along with the collaborating institute, and then build a concept, then it's going to be very interesting. Then you develop a proposal. So I went through a time of about a year's time where I had to go through all this, develop my proposal, and then go on to submitting it to an institution. So the first thing we look at it is how to create a problem statement. First thing, we need to define the issue. Yes, we have the issue, but we need to define it. So how do we define it? Why that issue is chosen? That's the first point. And then who's going to be involved in the issue, whether it's a community or an individual, or it's an abstract kind of a work. So who's the issue about, and who are the stakeholders? So these are things which are very important as we define the issue. So when we define the issue, we should look at few things, that is the national interaction about your issue. So the national status of your problem. So how is it? Are there many people that are affected with your concept that you have? So that's why and who is important. And also you should have a connection with the international status. So that's where you bring in the significance of the problem. Why is your issue important? So what's missing? So already there's a problem. There's a lot of study that's there on the website. Many scientists are working on that line. But what's missing? What's not available in the problem that I'm trying to bring forth? What's happening right now in this area of research or the area of research that you have chosen? So that's very important to know. So when we know that, it's going to give you an edge, or you have a confidence on your proposal that you're trying to develop. Who's affected? Sometimes we try to work on problems which is going to affect ecological, it's going to be biodiversity, it's going to be political, it's going to be some issue that's having a relevance to the population that is affected because of a particular problem. Like I worked on 2 or 3 projects where one was a diabetic problem because farmers were related on that. And then the other one was people who are living in a place where there was heavy metal pollution. So these people were affected with diabetes and also cardiovascular. So I could address the problem as the issue was there and also the significance of the problem. So I had a problem which I was trying to address and tried to find a solution from the problem. Then I had to tell these are the gaps that are there and the evidence-based literature that can be given. First one was knowledge gap. So what's missing in the knowledge section? Then I had to go for the methodological approach that is not available, and I'm trying to bring in a new methodological gap which allows you to work on the issue that you have at hand. Then also sometimes you have a theoretical gap. There's a lot of theories, but this also will be missing. So gaps in the literature are very important. If you can delineate these things, put out a small write-up, and then it's going to be very easy to make you understand what's your issue and what you're going to do with your proposal. And then you have a policy gap. Sometimes your work will be able to develop a policy. So when you have that in mind, then it's going to help you a lot. When you have a issue like that, you can also go in for patenting of your idea. So the policy can be created. So if the government is going to be benefited with your idea, they will be very happy to help you out and give you the funding that you need. There's also research challenges that are there. The first thing is technical. Most times I have the idea, I have the expertise, but I don't have the infrastructure. So that's where you bring in collaboration. You need to find out how you can work with another institution. So I need to find out what are the infrastructures they have, then how I can go there and come back, because I wanted to work with an institution which was far away, about 500 kilometers from my place. But I had to explain why I have to work there and how is my logistical movement from my parent institution to the collaborating institution, and what's so important that I have to work in that particular institution. So these are some research challenges. And one more thing is, when you're trying to put up a proposal, we need to work on the ethical issue, whether you have human subjects that are working. Does your institution have a human ethical clearance? If you're going to use animal models, you need to look at whether you have the CPC-SEA guidelines or the approval for that. So our institution did have human ethical clearance, but we did not have animal ethical clearance. So I had to go to another institution and then work with them because they had the animal ethical clearance. So that was my justification, because ethical clearances are very important, whether it is art science or scientific research, whether it's arts or social work or scientific research, we need to address this ethical problem. So when you are having this challenge, we need to address this first before we develop a proposal. And then how you're going to work with the data that you're going to generate out of the proposal, out of the work that you're going to do. So what statistics you're going to do, what are the literature surveys that you've done, and it has to be really recent. It's not you bring up an old information and then say, okay, this was there, but now scenario could have changed. So as recent as possible. So these are things that you have to look at. So you need to look at what softwares you're using. Do you need any payments for the softwares? How do you maintain the software? Because some of softwares are paid. Most of them are free, but sometimes you need to have amount of money that has to be shelled out to maintain your software, and the kind of data quality that you're going to generate. You need to have unbiased data, not biased because you have an idea, and then you need to look at the problem from a standpoint which is away from your mindset. You need to look at it from the government perspective. The data that you're generating, the quality that you generate, can it be useful for the government to make a policy? And then what's the social, economic, and scientific impact? So under this, you have a lot of areas where we work. When I say social, it has to be related to healthcare policies and also a problem that is available. So I took up diabetes because I was a cancer biologist, but I wanted to get into a new area and then work on diabetes, which is completely different. I took that because in India, it's about every fourth person is a diabetic. Every household has a diabetic person. So that's a big issue, and how to address that problem. So it has an economic uh, connection because lots of money is being spent there by every individual. So I told that my work can develop a policy. It can help the people. It can help the community. And I also told it's going to be new. Nobody has done any work on this kind of work that I'm proposing. So mine was a recent approach to the work. So the government was ready to fund my proposal. I'll show you one of my proposals which I had submitted. And that proposal, when they looked it up, when they were trying to review it, they said, okay, this is completely new. Okay, no one has worked on this line. So let us fund this guy. Although he's a newcomer, that was the first proposal that I got, and I made sure that I was able to get it. It was a luck anyway, but somehow I tried to make a proposal which had all the information that the funding agency required. So I studied the proposal and then went on ahead. So my hypothesis was to be very strong. I need to have an idea which tells my question has to be really, really rich. It has to impact a lot of people. So when the reviewers look at my question, okay, this question has to be addressed. That's the impact that they should get. Because when you send a proposal, it's going to go through a lot of analysis. It's going to be looked up by several people. I'll show you who are all the ones who are going to look at your proposal. So to do that research, to address that research question, I conducted a pilot study. I did a small study to see whether my idea is really going to work. So I prepared small data, which I could put up on my proposal itself. Say I've done all this work with a small amount of people, but I need to extend the study to do a lot of work. For that, I need this funding. So that was my approach to the problem. I created an insight on the problem. The statement was telling that this is going to help a lot of people. My insight was different from what regular people think. And then my statement was testable. I need to prove to the agency that my idea will really work, and then I will be able to tell the agency that it's going to give you an effort which will help the people, and it has to be relevant. And then I also needed to have a possible alternative hypothesis, because we always stick to one issue. I had that when I had gone for the interview, they told me, what if this does not work? I had to tell them, yeah, I'm not sure that this is going to work, but I still have an alternative hypothesis which I can work on if this doesn't seem to give me good results. So that was impressive for the interviewing time. So we need to build up a hypothesis which will be able to address this also. My objectives had to be clear, and objectives had to be 3 to 5. We don't have to write a large number of objectives, and 3 to 5 very specific and right to the point, and justify each one. Then I had to develop a methodology to approach my objective. So each objective had to be justified with the methodology. It's not just giving an objective. So I had to explain how I'm going to address the first aim of my objective. Then the second, what are the methodologies that I'm going to use? What are the equipments that I'm going to use? Elaborate the details, validate the problem, use recent technologies to justify. So it's not an outdated technology that you're going to use, because as the days goes by, every technology keeps changing. So we need to come up with expected outcomes and impact, which tells the future research endeavors that are possible, the future prospects, what are the policy generations that you can do after you complete the proposal, and then whether your idea can be patentable. So this is what the funding agency looks at. If your idea is new and it can get a lot of traction, then it's going to really help. And then you need to know what you're going to deliver at the timelines that you propose. So you need to have deliverables at every 3 to 6 months. So at this point in time, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to get out with. So after that, once the proposal is done, then you go on to developing your funding. So you have all this idea in hand. You have the objectives, you have the methodology, you have the expected outcomes. Now comes the major part, which is how to ask for funding. So the first thing is you need somebody to work with you. So the manpower is one thing that you need to look at. You need to hire a good candidate who can work with you. So these are the money or the amounts that are required. So earlier it was 25,000 for a junior research fellow. Then they increased to about 31,000, which was a revision of the emoluments. And then if you're going to have a very high-end proposal, you will look at RA, which has to be funded by 47. So based on this, you have to adjust your funding, whether it's a JRF or an RA, research associate 1, 2, 3. Based on that, on the right side, you can see the emoluments that are there. It goes up to 54,000. So if you don't put a logically understandable or a justifiable budget, the agency is not going to give you the money. So they will tell that you don't understand how much you require. So we need to have this in mind before we send out the proposal. And there are some other things that are required. So I need to prepare these certificates that are required, the PFMS, the topic that I have, and we need to get it endorsed from your institution. So we need to go through all these documents that are required, which allow you to submit it into the agency. Then comes the budgeting part. I know budgeting is a very, very important section in your proposal, and budget goes through a lot of scrutiny, and the government of India is very strict on this, and they try to do a lot of analysis on how you're trying to propose the budget. So I'll try to explain a little bit about the budget. So I'll tell you some of the budget heads that are there, and then we'll see how you can come up with the proposal. Okay, the first thing is consumable. How much I am going to use. So this is one of the budget that I created for my proposal. So I need to tell how much I'm going to use, like consumables. When I say consumables, it can be the reagents or stuff that I needed to buy to conduct my experimental protocol. This is related to science. It can be taken up for an arts person. For them, they need supplies which are required. You need to conduct a workshop. You need to go out for a seminar or anything that you want to do with the arts work. The work that you need has to be put in here. So the consumables that are required to do that, you need to prepare flyers and all that stuff. And then you need contingency. This is standard. This is a fixed amount which cannot be changed. Contingencies are the ones that you can buy, like paper, pencils, and maybe a printer or stuff like that, which is required to do your day in and day out work. So this is fixed for year 1, 2, and 3. This is for 3 years. So it cannot go above 50,000. That will be specified in the proposal itself. So you need to stick to that budget. You can't keep on contingencies beyond this amount. And then you have the equipment that I'm going to buy. So here I put a large amount here on the equipment side, where I had to buy about 4 or 5 equipment. So this is about 14 lakhs that I've shown here. But I had to explain why I had to buy this equipment and from where I am buying it. And when I'm putting in equipment, I also needed to upload a few quotations from the provider. So that tells to the agency that I've already started working with the people and I have an idea about what are the kind of equipments. You can't buy substandard equipments to do your work. So they look at that as well. And then the manpower budget. So this was for a JRF. So I had proposed a budget of this amount based on the emoluments that I had shown you earlier. So based on that, I prepared this budget for the manpower and I had to put this. So manpower is a very important area which will take care of funding your student or a researcher or an RA who's going to work with you. And then the overhead costs. This changes from proposal to proposal and agency to agency. So it can be from 10 to 15%. So based on your entire budget, this amount will be adjusted. And then you have the travel allowance that they give you, which is again fixed amount, which is 50,000 every year. You can't go above this budget. So you need to fix up your travel budget as well for your travel inland, or if you're going out of the state. All this has to be accommodated within this amount that is prescribed. If there's anything more, I think it should go from your pocket. But always we can try to adjust it within this amount that is provided by the government. 50,000 is a really good amount. And then this is the grand total that I have generated, and it was about 45. And actually, when I proposed this, the agency told me, this budget, is this going to be enough for your work? I think you've quoted less. So that was the comment that the reviewer had sent me. So sometimes we try to put a very stringent budget. It might not work. So they gave me a little more than what I asked. So the funding agency told, you proposed a very stringent amount, and they revised it, and then they told a budgetary change modification has to be done if you need to work on this, because what I had proposed was really new and it might need a lot of money to work on that. And these are some of the agencies that are providing funding. The most interesting one is SCRB, which is providing. So I just connected to the internet. Let's see if it's going to work. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is one agency which gives you, and here you can find all the agencies that are there inside this hub heading, that is ANRF, which was SCRB earlier. Now they have a lot of funding agencies which gives you fund. You can go into each of this site here, and then you can get your funding that is required based on your requirement. So each one is for a purpose. So this is for scientific and useful profound research advancement, SUPRA. And then you have SCRB Power, SCRB Fire. So this is for fund for industrial research engagement. So there are different subheadings or sub-agencies that will give you work, money for your work. So this is one. So let me go back to the proposal. Yeah, then we have another one, which is Indian Council of Social Science Research. We have Ayush, which gives you funding for Ayurveda related research. And then you have ERC, European Research Council, which is an international funding agency. And then you have Fulbright, which is one of the interesting ones where a lot of people can go into this and then look for a lot of funding agencies. Here, you get money for postdoctoral work, you get for students. So this is for, this is a site for Indians to get. So fellowship for Indian citizens. There's a fellowship for US citizens also, but this is one which gives fellowships for Indian citizens who can go and work in the US. So these are Fulbright fellowships where you can, I'll click one of them and then show you. Fulbright Nehru Fellowship. So here they give fellowships for a lot of things. Nehru doctoral research, postdoctoral research, professional excellence research fellowship, other Fulbright fellowships. Here the thing is you can go on to this and then check out. Here there's an application process tab which tells you the details that are required. So they give a timeline. So May 14, 2025 is the application deadline. Now it's already over for this year. You can try for the next year. And then you have to go according to the timelines that they give here. So you can work on that. And so here you have the application should be submitted online, and they have the requirements that is required, what all you have to do. So there's a lot of information that you have. So Fulbright is a very prestigious fellowship that you can look at, which will help you do a lot of work. And you have, DST, call for proposal. There's one which is giving you a proposal. So you can go to this site, which tells you there's a call for proposal. There's an India-Sweden collaborative research, which is going to be funded. The start date is, so the end date is 14/11/25. Until November, you can submit your proposal in India, Sweden. So you need to develop a connection with the Swedish site, develop a proposal with the scientist that is there, and then make your side of the story, and both of you collaboratively submit a proposal to the agency. Then you have clean energy. So you can look at this. So this one is from Department of Science and Technology. You can go and look at a DBT. You can look at Ayush. You can look at MOEF, that is Ministry of Environment and Forest. So they have this proposal. This is the niche area that they want. So if you write a proposal on this industrial research, they're going to fund you. Most times what happens is we write our own interest. It might not get funded. So you need to tune and make a proposal which is fitting into the proposal that they're going to fund for. So that's where our expertise is going to work here. So here, the second one says about carbon capture. So if you have an interest on that line, if you can work with somebody who's collaborating on that line, it's going to really get it funded. So that's the main idea. Okay, going on. So I've just listed down a lot of agencies which can fund you. Probably you can get a screenshot of this. So you can go on and then look at the different agencies which are going to fund you. this is very interesting to look at. We have so many research agencies which give us funding, but the thing is we do not know where to look at. So you can definitely get a project funded if you go to the right agency and give a right proposal. So I have a proposal which I have just to show you. So I'll just highlight a few of those which are there. And so this was a proposal that I generated. That's a small non-coding RNAs on diabetic heart disease. So I had to give the
Proposal is
origin.
not visible, sir. So you have
Okay,
to share your entire screen. Then only we can view this.
all right. Yeah, let me do that. I'll stop the share and then come back again. Please bear with me.
Oh, it's okay, sir.
Now it's okay?
No, sir, no.
Yeah, let me share one more time. Yeah.
You can share the entire screen, sir.
Okay. Okay, I am not able to see the entire screen. That's an application window.
Uh,
Yeah, Dr. Alan, just click the share screen and the
Yeah.
first option is entire screen.
All right. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I hope you're able to see the screen that I'm trying to show now.
Yes, we can see that proposal one.
Oh, are you able to see now?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yes, now,
Proposal,
but you
yeah.
can just zoom it, please.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so here I developed this idea which I had to work on. So nobody had worked on this line. So I developed a non-coding RNAs in diabetic heart disease. So I had to come up with the origin of the proposal. If you see, I have created a proposed preliminary data which I had to propose. So here I put the work that I've done. So I showed that this is the work that I'm going to go with a little bit of statistics. And so this was also published with my name on the paper. So this gave me an edge over, okay, he's already working on this line. So this was my strength that I'm going to propose there. So that was an interesting. So I've done a little bit of statistics, which tells that I've done this and my name was there. It was not in the beginning, but since I was working for the first time, my name was included in the paper that I had published. So they understood, okay, this guy is already working with. So this one I had worked with Madurai Kamaraj University. So the people there included my name in the paper because I had worked with them for about a year's time. And so in this paper allows me to tell, okay, why I am collaborating with another institute. Why should I go there? And then I had to tell the review international status that is there. I also have the national status, which is available. So I had to put up a data. Why? So look at this data that I've generated. It tells about 2040, 642 million are going to be affected with diabetes. So that's an important information that people are looking at. So here in India also, we have that information. So I put, and then I had to come up with the objectives. So I had to give objective one. What are the things that I'm going to do? A, B, C, D. Then number two, I had to do 1, 2, 3. Then number 3, explain what are you going to do. And then justify it. I have the justification a little later. And then I'll show you, I had to show what is the protocol that I'm going to use. I'm going to work, this is a workflow with which I'm going to do. So they try to understand whether you're thorough with what you're trying to do. It's not just you prepare a proposal and then which is not completely enough. So I had to prepare my proposal with all the workflows that I am going to work. Then I had to explain my timeline, what I'm going to do in year 1, year 2, year 3, and then put it up 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the things that I'm going to show with the work that I'm doing. So that gives a confidence for me and also the agency which is going to fund me. Okay, they're not going to give a fund. Okay, is it okay to give the fund to this guy? They should have confidence. So if my proposal is going to be really elaborate, then they will definitely give. Then I gave the tangible outcomes. What I'm going to do after this? What's my next? Am I going to do for another? And the responsibilities that I have with whom I'm going to collaborate. All right, this was one. And then the most important thing is you need to show what is your strength. So I had to tell the infrastructure facilities that I have and also the infrastructure facilities, the agency with which I'm collaborating. So this one is at MKU. So I had to show these are the things that are available and these are things that are not available with me. That's why I'm collaborating with them. I need, because if I show all this, if I had to buy all this, my proposal would have gone up to 4 to 5 crores. I can't buy all this, but this is already available. So I cut down the cost because I'm collaborating with MKU. So that was a very powerful statement to the agency. Okay, this guy is trying to make a connection because he can work with these things that are available. All right, so this is one thing. Some things I have redacted which I cannot show. So these are, okay, this is the budget, and then I had to justify the budget. What is the justification for my consumable that I'm buying? So I had to put it up. What are the things that I'm buying? The travel cost, what I'm going to do. Part of the work is going to be done in MKU, and I have some things that I work there, so I had to justify it. And then why I'm buying equipment. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had to explain every equipment that I'm buying. I had to buy a -20, an autoclave, a pipette, a centrifuge, a thermal cycler. All this has to be justified. And then the cost and whatever you're trying to do. And this is one. So this is how the proposal works. I'm going to show you another proposal, just the highlights of it, which is a recent proposal that we have submitted from MCC, which is submitted just 2 weeks back. It was submitted in 29th August. Here you can see the proposal is along with another department, that is social work. I don't have anything to do with social work, but I started collaborating with them, and also another institution. See, you can see there are about 11 co-PIs. So I'm here at this place where I'm one of the collaborator here, or the co-PI, which allows me, there's another institute which is also working with us. So another department, zoology department, social work department, and another institute, which is a medical institute. So when you have a proposal, and we have given a proposal for about 14 crores. So when you have a proposal which has that much of information and a reasonable collaborative approach, the funding agency might approve. We do not know whether this is going to be approved, but we are just trying it out. How does your proposal get evaluated? That's the most important thing that you need to understand. The first one is you need to have relevance and significance, novelty. It should be new, clarity of the objectives. Like I told you earlier, it has to have 2, 3, or 4 objectives, which can be addressed during the time frame that you're trying to tell. The feasibility is very important. You can't just give an objective which cannot be addressed. We might have a lot of objectives, we might have a lot of ideas, but if it cannot be carried out during the time frame and the funding, then they're not going to fund. If it's going to be impractical, it's not going to work out. So we need to give practically viable proposals. And then the principal investigator and the team competence, whether the principal investigator has an experience on the proposed area of work. You can't propose a work which is not relevant to you or you don't have an expertise on. If you're just going to propose something, I'm going to work on, say, I'm a science guy. If I tell I'm going to work on a political science related issue, definitely they're not going to give me a proposal. So I need to have an idea which will corroborate with my experience. Then the ethics and compliance is very important. I've told you earlier. Then the overall quality and presentation, how you present your proposal is very important, because a shabby work, if there are any mistakes on the proposal, definitely it's going to be ruled out. So this is how the evaluation happens. The first round, it goes through evaluators where they're going to grade your proposal and then select whether it's going to be in the theme that the agency is going to give you. So the relevance to the funding agency is required. So in the first proposal, they'll send it to about 4 or 5 people who are going to evaluate, and then it'll be graded. So when the grading is done, your grading should be about 3 or 3.5, and anything proposal below that is going to be rejected. So this is the first round. When your first round in the agency, it will show it's under review. So this is what they'll do. The second round, it will be sent to subject experts for evaluation. There they'll look at your novelty and your expertise on the proposal that you're giving. So people which are related to your subject area will be evaluating, and then it'll go on. If it is selected there, it'll go on to the third round where the task force will be analyzing your proposal. Here, they'll analyze the feasibility, the budget justification, and the overall quality. If satisfactory, then it will go ahead and get approved. Sometimes with necessary recommendations, like for me, they told your budget is too low. They recommended me to adjust the budgeting and increase a little bit of amount on the consumables. So I had to increase that. So this is how your round works. So you need to have, suppose your project is more than 1 crore, then it'll go for next evaluation. There's another section of people who look at why they're asking more amounts. So these are the preliminary and the first, second, and the third round of evaluation that happens. Then finally you get it approved. You get a letter from the agency which says, okay, you get it approved on your work, and they put up or what are the things that are going to be fitting into your. So this is a happy time when you see your SERB, like from DST, you get a mail telling that it's approved. So that was really an achievement on my side, which I got it in 2016, which give me confidence. Okay, I also can work on this line. Can generate a proposal. Right, that happened, and I needed to work on a lot of other things. I am still trying to develop a lot of proposals, and we need to understand some of the mistakes that we commonly do when we're trying to prepare a proposal. Number one, most of it is unfocused. We try to give a lot of information. We try to make the proposal very with too many objectives, and it becomes vague. When you're focused, you give 2 to 3 objectives in place. It's going to give confidence to you and also to the agency. If it's not focused, if you give too many areas to cover, the agency will think, okay, there are too many things. Maybe I look at someone else who has a focus. So your ideas that you propose should be interesting because the agency should buy your idea. That's the main concept. If you don't give an idea which is relevant to them or the funding agency, they will just throw the idea. So we don't want that to happen. We need to win. So we need to have a focus. Second one is there should be no plagiarism or avoid as much as possible. Like yesterday, Dr. Chinnamuthu was telling, zero plagiarism. Try to make it novel and make it as innovative as possible. So without plagiarism, so you can do all of the checks that are available, like using Turnitin or whatever softwares are available, make plagiarism-free write-up. That makes you also develop your own product. Don't go on to any softwares. Weak objectives or unrealistic outcomes will not be funded. So your objectives should be very strong. Okay, I have this. This is why I'm going to do it. And this is what I'm going to get if I address this problem. You need to tell why and what's your outcome also. If that is not there, then unrealistic outcomes cannot be funded by any agency. Just like your student comes up with an idea. Since we are already doing PhD, we have a lot of strength, but the student comes up with a very big proposal which cannot be done with the money that he has. He gives a proposal for 10 crores and he wants to do it at a UG level, which cannot work. So we need to have an idea on what you're proposing and how much you can get. Again, don't use ChatGPT or Twitter-based or any other AI platform to develop your proposal, because nowadays the software that checks your proposal can also find out whether you have used AIs in your proposal. They have very powerful software which will tell you that this is done on ChatGPT, this is done on this AI platform. So we cannot cheat the software that is checking your proposal. So please don't use ChatGPT or AI. You can get little bit of idea, but tweak it, make it according to your convenience, and try to make it novel, and it should be original, not AI. First thing, you need to have clarity. Use simple, direct language, logical, problem, solution, and benefit, and avoid unnecessary details. And most importantly, use charts, graphs, and infographics like I showed in my proposal, which showed the data that I had already worked on. So that gives the agency, okay, some work is already going on. It will be good to fund this guy or the scientist to carry out their work. So we need to be very clear. Then we should have a purpose. Align your proposal with the funder's priorities. Highlight the relevance of the project, the urgency and the necessity, and keep a focus on the big picture. So I took up a problem which was addressing the problem which is all around in India and also all around the globe. So my focus was not only local, it was state related, nationally, and also internationally. So I needed to do this because there's an urgency, because there's a lot of people are affected with diabetes. So I had to develop this problem. I had the urge, okay, there are many people who are suffering. So social relevance was very, very important there. So that gave the impetus for me to work on that line. And there was a problem which had come out in the news, and it was a very hot topic at that time. So many people died because of consuming pesticide. So what happens there? The farmers had to die there. So I had to develop that proposal. And your impact. Thematic area is very important. But whatever you prepare, keep it very concise. Support it with claims. Because I had a claim, I put up that newspaper cutting also in my proposal. which tells, okay, this is the problem. It happened in North India. So I connected Tamil Nadu, North India, and also the world, which tells me, okay, this is not a local issue. I'm trying to work with an issue which had an impact all over the country. And I had to be persuasive, but still I need to be professional. And keep a check on your write-up. Always keep checking as much as possible. Proofread your proposal. Don't just write and then submit. There should not be any errors on your proposal. So the impact is very good when you have all this checked up. So the power of a winning proposal is you need to have clarity, purpose, and impact. That's what I've been talking about all the while. So a powerful proposal needs to be clear, purposeful, and impactful. And it must convince, inspire, and justify. These are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're writing a proposal. And one last statement before I close. Clarity wins trust, purpose wins attention, and impact wins approval. So that's the three themes that I've given: clarity, purpose, and impact. So if you have clarity, you win the trust of the agency. If you have purpose, you win their attention. And if you have an impact, you will get it approved, definitely. And that's the goal. We need to get our proposal funded and approved. And we might get into failures. Never mind. We need to improve on our strength and write a proposal which is powerful, and it should be winning. So I think I have covered. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, if there are any questions that you have, I'll be very happy to answer them. I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can make the participants to unmute. Yeah, Bipin, can you just enable the option? Participants can unmute and ask the speaker directly. Yeah, Dr. Bipin, can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that people can unmute and ask. In the meanwhile, you can read the questions from the chat box.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can, how to apply foreign funding for domestic research? Yeah, that's a good question. So when you want to do domestic research, you need to look up for agencies which will give you funding from both sides. Like the Indian agency, sometimes they allow you to write to a foreign agency. And so like the proposal that I showed you, an Indo-Swedish connection. So you can write for a problem that is prevailing here and also a problem that is there on the international side. So when you write a proposal like that, you need to have a scientist from the other side and also from India. It could be you who's collaborating with an international institution, and then you will get it funded. How much of AI can be used in the process of proposal writing? Yeah, that's a good question. AI is probably you try to avoid as much as possible. Try to do your own work. You need to do a lot of reading and literature review. Once you start doing literature review and a lot of reading and accessing to a lot of works that have been already done, then you don't need to go to AI. You can develop your own proposal. That's as easy as that. People who have not worked, who have not have an idea, will use AI. So AI is for, I will tell it, handicapped people. Yeah, you can get information, but don't depend on AI to do your work.
Yeah, I think participants can unmute now.
Yeah, anyone who has a question, you can always ask.
Sir, you have mentioned about the 10 co-PIs in the proposal.
Yes, can you be a little more louder, please?
Sir, you have mentioned one proposal you showed about the 10 co-PIs.
Yes.
I have seen only 2 or 3 co-PIs. Then how is it possible we can have a 10?
Pardon?
How it is possible we can have a 10 co-PIs, maximum 2 or 3 around?
Here the good question. So it's a very good question. Here the agency tells that the principal investigator need to be a permanent employee and has to have a PhD. The other co-PIs, they give a little bit of relaxation that you can allow a co-PI to work. Co-PIs can be any number, but principal investigator is the primary one who's going to address any situations or problems related to project. So PIs have an expertise, like I have an expertise, so I can be there. So there's a slight relaxation for co-PIs, but for principal investigator, there's no relaxation.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So participant, we have 3 more minutes. We'll take up your questions. If you have any questions, you can unmute and ask or post your question in the chat box.
There is a question like what strategies best showcase the long-term societal or economic impact of a proposal when results may take years to appear?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, sometimes the effects are not going to be really seeing now, but you might predict that this is going to have a problem. So we need to have an assessment. So that's why you need to have some data, preliminary data that you have in mind. You can project that and then say, okay, this is the idea that I'm proposing. I have a kind of a statistical data which is already available, which is already out on the net. So I can put that. You don't have an information on that, and you can also predictive work also can be done. But the agency will try to analyze your projection, telling whether this is going to really work, because they are all great scientists who are working there, and they will have a lot of information about the proposal that we are writing. We're just beginning, but there are people who have been seeing a lot of proposals day in and day out. So they will assess, and then they will be able to tell, yeah, okay, this could probably, we could give a chance. Sometimes it could be entirely new, but agencies also will try to take a risk and give you the proposal. So we need to develop a proposal which will be catchy, which has social relevance. If it has social relevance, definitely yes.
Yeah, thank you. The one more question, like, is there any possibility for a publication fee we can quote in the budget when we apply for a proposal?
Yeah, I think that it is allowed to a certain extent, which you can accommodate on the proposal, but we need to check on the guidelines that the agency is giving you. So,
But contingency, I think, Dr. Allen, we can
Yeah.
include that in contingency. We can accommodate that. Some of the institutions are offering the article processing charges from the overhead charges that the institution is taking from the project.
yeah, that has to be
You can just throw
justified.
light on overhead charges.
Yeah, overhead charges you get. Suppose I write a project for about 50 lakhs. So the overhead charges might be around 4 to 5 lakhs for the institution. So from there, you can possibly ask your institution to share that money to you, which you can use it. But if you write it on your proposal that I'm going to use this for publication, probably it might not sound good.
So there is one
Good
question.
evening, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. This is Mrs. Divya from Biochemistry Department of Advas. So actually, I wanted to clarify one thing. Is there any agency who will fund for the PhD students?
Yeah, a PhD student can be funded, just like I showed you on the slide number 2 or 3. A PhD student should fund, not straight away get funding from the agency, because to get your funding, the first criteria is you should have completed your PhD. A student or a researcher or a doctoral student cannot get funded, but can get the funding if they apply through the guide.
That means that fund will be going to not to the scholar, but the guide.
Yeah, it has to go through the guide only.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
probably
Can you
what we can
suggest
do, ma'am.
some of the funding agency like that, sir? Can you post it?
Pardon, I didn't get your question.
Can you post some of the funding agency for the science students, life science, especially in
Okay.
the biochemical and medical field?
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yeah, I'll do that.
I suggest that, when your guide is writing a proposal, or you write a proposal and apply through your guide, if it is funded and then JRF or a project assistant, there is a money that will be given to the salary to the PhD student.
Yeah, sir, that I know, sir. But
Yeah.
for a part-time student,
No, part-time, no funding, ma'am, because PhD means you have to do it at full time. If it is a part-time, then, the funding agencies, they may have their own reservations because work to be done at the full time.
Yeah, no, sir. If it is a part-time, then through the guide also there is no provision.
No. It should be a full time.
Okay, okay. Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, I put up some of the agencies that are related to science. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I am K. Lakshmi from Khammam, sir, and Vijayanagara Government Degree College. Please suggest any funding agencies for languages, sir.
Yeah, languages, ICSSR is one, and I think you should connect with Dr. Chinnamuthu and Dr. Kalyani, who will be able to help you much on that.
Yeah, I
Yes,
will also just pitch in. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have, there are a lot of, agencies in central government that is, coming up with the special calls. Recently, we had one call that is on Indian knowledge system, and the languages, regional languages can write their proposal in their own language. And they are ready to give funding for publishing books, that as a project. So like that, there are projects, but we need to dig deep and we need to follow. My suggestion is like, whenever you come across any profile, when they introduce something, just go and see that from what agencies they have got. Ministry of Education is giving fund to all languages. So you can
Please, can
think
you
of
share
that.
that link, sir? Can you share
You
that
can
link?
just Google it. Just Google it, ma'am. You will get it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. Sir, one more doubt is, sir. Sir, will
Yes.
they provide fund to regular employees only?
No, again, you have to go for the guidelines from each funding agency, and the special call has a guidelines who are all eligible to apply.
Okay, sir.
For
Thank you.
example,
Thank
few
you.
people ask like PhD student, can I get a project? Yes, in Tamil Nadu, we have CM Research Fund. So in that you can write and you can get, and it will be support for the 3 years. So like that, we need to really go through the guidelines.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for suggesting.
Yeah, probably we'll take one more question and then we can stop the recording, and we can thank and the speaker. Then informally, the speaker will be available here for take your questions. Okay, one more question, please.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes.
do we have any specific examinations for Chief Minister Research Fund in Tamil Nadu?
No. It's a
The
proposal
funding
based.
agency don't ask for any entrance exam or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a proposal based merit.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think Dr. Bebin, you can go for the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, sir. As the title says, your talk also today is it's powerful and it has the clarity and impactful. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir. On behalf of MCCRC, I thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Bebin, you can stop the recording. Yeah, thank you. And the speaker will be available here. You can ask the question. Similarly, Dr. Bebin will moderate with the chat box question.
Yeah, there is one question in the chat box.
Yeah.
In animal model work, ethical certificates get from nearby universities or national agencies.
Yeah, for ethical clearance on animal work, you need to find an institution. If you have it, it's good. Otherwise, you need to collaborate with an institution which is nearby. Your own state is good because to travel a lot of, sometimes what happens is there are a lot of institutions who have ethical clearance. You need to go and present your work to them, and then they will give you the ethical clearance. Like here, there are so many institutions that have ethical clearance. So I take my proposal there, present it to them, and then they look at my proposal and then say whether it can be approved or not. And then you get, if you put that ethical clearance number on your proposal, then it has more weightage because you already have done your groundwork. So then you also have a little bit of impact on your proposal. Yeah, better to do with your neighboring institutions. Don't go too far from your parent institution. Otherwise, logistics will be a problem.
Sir, I just have one question because when I am applying for CSIR, even the first stage of scrutiny, it is taking 1.5 years nearly. Even after 1.5 years only, it is taking a long time.
Okay. Yeah, here the problem is I also had applied for 2 or 3 projects. What happened was the proposal was just under review for more than 1 year. It happens when the government or the agency which is funding you does not have the fund in their repository. That time they will try to keep it on hold and get the funding them to send it out, disperse the amount. Then they will convene a meeting. Then they'll call the experts. Otherwise, 3 of my proposals just went out without even going to level 2. So
Yeah,
many
even
people-
yeah, I too got the case because the stage 1 it was scrutinized. Then stage 2 they rejected after a year. One more year.
Yeah, that could be maybe funding could be a problem, or for one of my proposals got completely just washed out because of COVID. During COVID, they did not fund anything.
Hmm.
So I had
Okay.
written a proposal and it was just hanging there. I just saw it was under review. I wrote to them a couple of times, but no response because they did not probably want to fund during that time.
Oh,
And the whole proposal thing would have been scrapped out.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, could you suggest a few funding agencies for studies on management and commerce?
All right. Yeah. I'll probably get it over from the other people who are working on the art section, and then probably you can write, or you can write to us like Dr. Chinnamuthu, because I am familiar with most of the funding agencies related to science.
Okay.
So I'm very sorry. I'm familiar, but with the others, those agencies, we can go and then pass it on to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions, participants from your side?
Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Reggie from St. Mary's College, Thuthukudi. My question is whether the funding agency will prefer so many co-investigator in a research funding.
Yeah, if it's a proposal which is going to fetch a lot of money, then more co-investigators will be okay. But if it's just a small proposal or an idea which you're trying to put forth to start your career, early career research fellowship, they don't allow co-investigators. So you have to be the principal investigator and you're going to work because it's an early career research fellowship. They don't accept co-PIs. But for research grants which you're going to write like CRG, core research grant, there they can allow probably 1 or 2. But if the proposal amount is going to be less, then you can't justify why you need so many investigators. You need to stick to a smaller circle. If your funding is big, then it's going to be a pan-India work, then okay. Otherwise, if you're going to work on a smaller project, having a lot of co-investigators, you can't put any person onto the project because they might not have the skill expertise. Just because they are your friend, you can't just add on to the proposal. You need to be very specific why you have added the co-investigator. You need to justify why that co-investigator is there on your proposal. If you don't give that, if it's just an addition, then the agency will just ignore your presentation. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If there are any more, I will be happy to. Yeah, I noticed a workstation included in your proposal. Will the funding agency provide funds? Get workstation budget on which 5 lakh to fund it on my work and of my work workstation. And if that was not the case, they will say no, we're not going to fund for this. But my work needed a workstation with a larger computational facility. So I needed to have about 200 to 300 GB RAM. So with that, I had to write the proposal and I had to justify why that workstation is needed. And then they told me, yeah, it's okay. So then that was approved. Is there any specific criteria for the co-investigator? Yeah, again, the co-investigator should have an expertise on the proposal that you're writing. You can't just involve a co-investigator just because they're in your department, or if they are there in another college or an institution or a university. Just because you have a connection with them, you can't put them onto the proposal. They need to have a contribution from their side and also relevant publications to the research proposal. Then it's valid. Just another person investigator will not help you.
Hello, sir. This is Nandini Ramakrishnan.
Yes.
Sir, I have a A small question. I need some suggestion regarding visual communication department because there is very
Okay.
low source to low to no.
A little
source
bit louder, please.
Sorry, sir, I couldn't hear you.
A little louder. We're not able to hear you.
Okay.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
You can post your question on the chat box because we're not able to hear your voice.
Am I audible now, sir?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Perfect.
Sir, can you give me any suggestions for the Department of Visual Communication, sir?
All right. Yeah. Again, the same question. I am not from the art section or this side of the research that you're trying to do. But I will definitely help you out and connect you with people who are working on that line.
Yes, sir, because
I am
there is
both.
very low to no source for visual communication department, sir. Even for journalism, they have an idea because
Okay.
can get something related to research in journalism and all the articles they have been given from historic era. But
Yeah.
when it comes to visual communication, there is very low to no source for how to find fundings, what kind of projects can we do. So in the upcoming sessions, if there is any a little points extra for visual communication, it will be very useful, sir.
Okay. We'll make a note of that and then we'll try to address it in the next presentation tomorrow.
Definitely.
Thank you for your tip that you have given us.
Yeah, and sorry for the audio trouble, sir.
No problem. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, thank you for the wonderful session. Sir, apart from government funding agencies, do we have any opportunities like CSR fundings for our project?
Yeah, CSR fundings, definitely you can get it, but that will go only through your institution. So it depends on whether your institution is getting that fund and whether your institution is ready to share that fund with you. So that's completely with you and your institution. But government agencies, you have a little bit of a control over the fund that comes to you because they're allocating that this goes for this. But when you get a CSAR, it goes through your institution. So if your institution is generous to give you all the money, very good. But if they have some restrictions, then you have to understand that their commitment with the CSAR or the CSR and then work along with them. Yeah, definitely. CSR is a good way to fetch money if you're not able to get it from the government institution. But definitely you need to understand the dynamics of your institution and understand how much you're going to get from there.
Sir, if that is a possibility, how can we approach those companies, sir? Like we have a way to write proposal. So same way, how can we approach them?
Yeah, it has to be done for number one, it has to be done through your institution where they'll come in to give CSIR funding for a particular reason that they have.